Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about agoraphobia and fear of leaving the house. This is something that not a great amount of people deal with, but I just wanted people to know that they're not alone, that I have dealt with agoraphobia quite severely in the past. There was a time when just standing by the door would give me a panic attack. I was so afraid of leaving the house. So today I wanted to share with you just a few quick sort of tips and tricks that I use to help myself be able to leave the house again. First thing to do is to rationalise what the worst case scenario could be. Anxiety is an irrational feeling. It's this little voice in your head telling you that there's danger where there is none. It's important to remind yourself that when you leave the house, nothing bad is going to happen. Everything is in your imagination. It's just this irrational voice in your head telling you things that will never happen. So you really do need to focus on the fact that it is irrational. I don't think I can drive that home enough. It is just completely irrational and everything will be fine when you do leave the house. Sometimes you just have to pull down that barrier and tell yourself that you're going to force yourself to do it, just to show yourself that nothing bad is going to happen to your body physically. Within your mind you may be having a complete meltdown, but nothing physically bad is going to happen to your body. A lot of the time, agoraphobia and fear of leaving the house can stem from negative experiences. For me, it was more about sort of the thought of where I was going. A lot of the time it would be to school or to a situation that I would find incredibly stressful and that would give me panic attacks, and so I associated that with leaving the house. And so a lot of the time it is good to look into CBT. I'd say if you're suffering from agoraphobia, obviously you should be, talking to your doctor, seeing a therapist, but CBT is a really good way to sort of undo those negative experiences so that you don't have the same negative association anymore. When leaving the house, I also think it's important to have a safety net. I talked briefly about this in my dealing with crowd anxiety video, where basically if you're going to an event or you're going to do something, sort of set a time that you're going to leave, or sort of know your exits, that kind of thing. So if you're, say, telling yourself that today I'm going to walk up to the shop, something that for a lot of people might be relatively simple. For you, what you might want to do is sort of plan your route, be aware of your surroundings, know that you can leave the situation at any time, know that you can walk straight back home at any time, and a lot of the time sort of having that in place does help you leave the house knowing that you can come back whenever you want. Something that sort of goes hand in hand with that is to make others aware. It can be embarrassing saying to your friends or your family, actually I'm terrified of leaving the house, so we may turn up a little bit later, or I may suddenly chicken out and want to stay home. But the sooner you make others aware, the easier it will be for you to get support. Now, the last thing I quickly want to mention is sort of a little routine. I think if you're going to take anything away from this video, I hope it'll be this. This is basically the routine that did help me overcome my agoraphobia, and it's a slow routine. It's something that you need to take at your own pace, but it can be really, really beneficial. So the first thing is to just get on your clothes as if you're about to leave the house. Sit by the door and just then control your breathing. Now, if you have quite severe agoraphobia like I did, just those actions will start to bring on panic. So the important thing to do is to sit down, to get your breathing under control, and only when you start to feel normal again, when you no longer have sort of the gripping panic about leaving the house, then you can take your coat off, take your shoes off, put them away, and you don't leave. Now, depending on how easy you find it to calm yourself down, sort of that will dictate how long you should do this for. So say if it takes you about 5 minutes to calm down, perhaps do that for a few days, and then the next day you put on your coat, put on your shoes, and you just put your hand on the door as if you're going to open it. You don't have to open it, you put your hand on the door, you tell yourself that you will open it. If you do, bonus. If you don't, then just get your breathing under control again, bring down the anxiety, take your hand off the door once you've done that, undress and leave it. Keep doing this and it'll sort of build up positive experiences. So you go through the routine as if you're going to leave the house, but you don't then have the major sort of panic that overcomes you when you do finally leave the house. And then eventually you can get to the stage where you open the door. You don't have to leave, you just put on your coat, put on your shoes, open the door, stand there, get your breathing under control. When the anxiety ebbs away, close the door. Keep doing this, and like I said, it's just going to build up a library of you going through this routine and calming yourself down. Eventually you might want to move on to just leaving the house for walks. A lot of the time, like I said, it stems from sort of where you're going that is going to make you anxious. So leave the house to go for a walk. You don't have to sort of put yourself in any situation that may trigger your anxiety. Just go for a walk. Come back, do this for a few weeks. I mean, it really sort of depends on how easy you find it to calm yourself down, how beneficial you're finding it. But the more you do it, the easier it will be. And then when it comes to doing something, going to a place, say like school or a party that makes you anxious, sort of the build up, the putting on your coat, putting on your shoes, opening the door will be a lot easier, and then you can just focus on dealing with the anxiety around the place you're going instead of the anxiety of just the simple act of stepping over the threshold. I just wanted to finish this video by saying that you're not alone. It is a completely valid feeling. Although I was sort of driving home earlier that anxiety is irrational, that doesn't mean that it's not valid. Just because you can't see it on the outside, just because to a lot of people something as simple as leaving the house is easy, doesn't mean that it isn't, you know, it isn't a real problem for you. And you know, I was a very confident person. I suffered very severely from anxiety and I couldn't leave the house for a really long time, and now I can. I went through my routine, I kept building up positive experiences, going through the routine, sitting by the door, pushing myself to go out for walks, to go up to the shops over and over for months and months, until eventually it started to get easier and I started to build up positive experiences, and my body told me actually it's not that scary anymore. So please don't give up, please keep trying. As always, I'm not a professional, so I really would recommend you seek some kind of help. As always, I'm going to leave loads of links in the description down below about agoraphobia and other tips and tricks on how to leave the house. And yeah, I hope that you found it useful, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye!